In this week's Coach's Corner, I am here with my very good friend Amber, who is a professional dancer, personal trainer, and online fitness coach. So before we dive into today's question, she's going to give us a little bit of background on how she kind of came to this point and what her day-to-day kind of looks like now.
Yeah, hello. Like Sam said, my name is Amber. I'm the HBIC of Dancers Who Lift, and I kind of stumbled into online coaching. I moved to New York to pursue my career as a professional dancer and found out that I wasn't booking work and was really injured and did not have a great relationship with food or my body or just mentally where I was at was really, really low and unhealthy. And I kind of stumbled into weightlifting and learning about nutrition and hired a coach for myself. And that was kind of the shifting point for my career as a dancer. After I was able to take control of my relationship with food and change my body in a positive way, it was less so about punishing myself and more about developing healthy habits and how can I fuel myself as a dancer and as an athlete. I was able to work through a lot of injuries and book a lot of really exciting work as a dancer. So I've been able to perform in things like the Macy's Day Parade, off-Broadway productions, cruise ships.
Cruise ships,
Yeah.
Amber and I got to meet up last year before she took off on her cruise ship. She came down to Miami where I was. We got some nice beach workouts in before we left. So that was a cool game.
Yeah, it was. And with that insight, working as a professional dancer, and the insight that I have about how the human body works and how to train yourself as an athlete, I've been able to help other dancers who are in a similar position that I was in, where maybe you're on tour for the first time or you're working all day on a movie set, and you don't have access to great food, or there's no way you can get to a gym that day, or maybe your job is on the line because you don't look a certain way or you've gained weight during this contract. Yeah, so I don't think a lot of normal people have that pressure. Normal folks have the pressure of, well, if I don't lose 10 pounds, I might not have a job tomorrow or in a week. So, a lot of what my coaching and what I do works around developing a healthy mentality and understanding that maybe this isn't the end of the world, but how to make the best of whatever situation you're in as an athlete, as a performer, but mostly as a human, and being really nice to yourself in that regard.
Yeah, I like that. Now, at what point did it come on your radar that you did select it for yourself and obviously developing these strategies through your own journey, maybe that could actually help other people? Were other dancers coming to you for help? Was it something that prompted it specifically?
Yeah, I started a blog because I had been writing everything on Facebook, everything that I was learning about and knew, and my Facebook friends were getting really annoyed. So I was like, let me just put this over. Exactly. If someone wants to read it, they can. So I started the Dancers Who Lift blog, and after a few months of coaching a few months of writing and auditioning and doing really well for myself, more and more people saw the shift in my career, and it was pretty obvious that you could attribute that to what I had learned about the human body.
Sure. So day-to-day now, predominantly online coaching, a little bit in-person stuff, mostly dancers on your roster? What does that look like now?
Yes. So I have a handful of elite clients here in the city that I'll see. I'll spend the mornings with them. And then 99% of my dancers are professional dancers, working dancers, like I said, people who are on cruise ships or national tours. I've got someone on every continent, or at least every sea in between. So online coaching is wonderful. It's such a cool way to connect the dance community. And I've been able to kind of build a really, really great network of just nice women. And because I don't know how other industries are, but the dance industry is very competitive. It can be pretty petty. So to just be able to work with women who just genuinely want to better themselves and better the community, it's really, really great. And I like that empowering aspect of the Dancers Who Lift.
That's good. Yeah, speaking from experience, if you follow any of Amber's social, you can see the Dancers Who Lift community, the posts that she'll reshare are always so positive and uplifting, and everybody's supporting each other. She just, bought a new dress, she just got 3 chin-ups for the first time. There's always so much going on there. So that's a really cool community.
Thanks. Yeah, I joke that I'm secretly building an army of super strong, badass women. We're just gonna take over the world and,
happen to be really good at dancing.
We just happen to, that's what we're gonna do.
That's awesome. So one of the first topics I wanted to get into today, something that comes up a lot in the group, is navigating nutrition while in a relationship. Because a lot of people are with significant others who either aren't dieting and end up eating more than them, or give them maybe a little bit of pressure to eat, like, hey, why don't you do this with me kind of thing. So one of the first things I wanted to dive into specifically was how to navigate nutrition when your significant other can kind of get away with eating more. So can you tell us a little more about Chris and your current dynamic that we got?
Sure. So my partner, I should stand up next to Sam so you can see. I'm only 5 feet tall, so I'm a very petite woman. My partner is exactly 2 of me. He's 6'3", like 210, 220.
He makes me look small.
He dwarfs Sam, which is so funny. And then there's like me in the corner like a kid.
As an average.
So I eat what I consider a lot for me. Chris eats what I consider a lot for a human. So even when he's dieting, even when he's in a cutting phase, it's still a lot of food. I've been lucky enough that I haven't really dieted this past year, but sometimes on my social I'll share photos of his plate versus mine. And one of the things that I like showing in those photos is how full his plate is and the room that I leave for myself.
Sure.
Because I think sometimes I used to have the idea where like, we need to eat the same. Our plates should look identical. We're equal in this relationship. We should be equal on the table. The feminist in me, like, where's that?
All of the pasta.
Well, that's the problem. Like, that's the problem then, right? Is he can eat 50 or 60 grams of carbs in one sitting, and that's a lot for me. If I eat that in one sitting, I'm gonna feel terrible afterwards. Not like is it going to hit my macros or the daily total out of it? Just in one sitting, that's a lot of food for me.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, I bake my own plate first, usually. Of course, I make all of my own food. I mean, it's not common for people in New York to make their own food. Most people,
after 2 months, I can vouch for that.
Right, like most of the time it's just seamless or whatever, order out. But I really love cooking, so the fact that I'm in charge of my own food is great. But then I really take pride in plating. So I like making my plate first. That's usually the one that I put on my social.
If you see the side by side, it's absolutely. It looks like she's half done with her meal. She has that plate that's this big. Chris's can feed a horse. She's the opposite. So.
But I think with that though, it's important to show like the distinguishing factors is he really is 2 of me. So if we're looking side by side, why should we be eating the same amount of food? Like, I don't need as much energy as my 200-pound boyfriend.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's one aspect to it.
Now, I know you're fortunate enough where Chris does not pressure you. Chris is in the fitness space as well, so he's not a jerk about it, where he's telling Amber she has to eat more, why you're dieting kind of stuff. Just curious if you have strategies for people who aren't in dynamic where their significant other is pressuring them and giving them like a hard time for dieting and saying like, why do you have to do this, that kind of thing. Do you have anything that comes to mind there?
I think, so in my field, it's not necessarily coming from a significant other that the pressure to diet would come from. It would be from a person of authority, like your director, your producer, your costume designer would say, hey, you don't fit in the costume anymore.
Yeah.
We need you to cut weight. It's really scary, right? But then, of course, the woman that I work with, myself, you lean on your partner in that regard. And so hopefully, if you're with someone who cares about you and wants you to be in a really safe state mentally.
Sure.
And you can say, hey, this is the thing that I'm worried about, this is what I'm stressed over. And for the normal people, it could be, hey, we're going on vacation in 6 months and I want to feel more confident on the beach. So I think if you can express clearly why you want to make a change regarding food, I think that will better help your partner to support you.
Sure.
So instead of just saying, I'm fat, I want to lose weight, like that doesn't help anyone, that doesn't help you. Like, it's not safe language for you, it's not helpful for your partner. Your partner wants you to feel great about yourself because they love you, hopefully.
Ideally. Perfectly.
Right. So when you're using this negative self-talk to describe your relationship with food and saying, I can't eat this, I can't eat anything, I'm fat, I don't feel good, like your partner is then going to want to do the opposite, encourage you maybe.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily coming from a manipulative place, because I know there are people who are like, well, every time I diet, my boyfriend makes me eat more.
Yeah.
Like he puts more food on my plate. I don't think it's manipulative. I think it's saying, no, don't feel that way about yourself. Exactly. I think you're great. Let's remove this, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why women feel pushed in the other direction from their partner sometimes.
Sure.
So I think it's really important to express your why behind why you want to make these changes. And then, of course, ask your partner, get them involved. Say, you don't have to make these changes with me, but here's my why as to why I want to make this change. You don't have to wear a bikini on the beach, but I do, right? And, you know, when I'm in my bikini, I want to feel a certain way, or I need to eat more vegetables because it helps me feel better and feel less bloated.
Sure.
So you don't have to eat the same amount of vegetables that I do, but, you know, it would encourage me, it would help me stay on track if you don't say anything about when I have a salad instead of pasta, you know, or, you know, I'm working really hard to come up with creative, new, healthy recipes. I would love your insight. Let's have, you know, date night where we try this new, you know, salad together.
Salad for Friday.
Friday salad. But you know what I mean? So I think the more that you can make it a conversation with your partner, which of course, is, you know, not everyone has the luxury of having great communications with their partners, but it's food. It's not that serious at the end of the day. Like, if your plates don't look the same, oh well.
Sure.
I think too, you can challenge yourself to back to the plates looking the same. Is if you have less food on your plate, challenge yourself to take the same amount of time as someone who has more food on their plate.
That's great.
That was something, because I realized I was such a fast eater.
Sure.
And yeah, so when I started that little mental challenge, I was like, I'll put my fork down every time he puts his fork down. Because he has so much food on his plate. He has this mindset of abundance, where he doesn't have to rush through his food because there's more food right there.
Yeah.
So whereas my plate starts to get less and less, and you know, there's that thing in your mind that's like, I don't have enough, oh no.
That's not fair.
Right. So yeah, if you can take the same amount of time, then you're still having your meal together. There's no, you know, I'm done. I'll go sit by the TV. You know, you're able to take your time, which of course makes you feel fuller longer, and you're able to have a better conversation and really enjoy your food more. Which I think that's probably one of the skills that you teach your group, right? So, yeah, relationships and food.
Let's recap those strategies. We're looking at proactively having a conversation that gets them involved, that comes from a positive place, not I'm fat, I'm dieting, take it or leave it. Want to avoid that kind of language. Ideally cooking at home as much as possible, like Amber was saying, to be in control of your plate. The plate structure can be similar in terms of like proteins, carbs, and fats and stuff. Just the portions obviously look a little different, and the strategy I really liked, trying to slow down to eat at the same pace, so you're not staring at an empty plate, and then that kind of fosters feelings of deprivation. So those are excellent. I like that one. Let's talk going out. Being in New York, obviously the go-to, not only eating out, is let's get drinks for everything. And it's like the only social option apparently here that everyone does is let's go out. So let's go over it in those settings where it's obviously easy to, drink a lot when you're participating with everybody else, but then also make poor food choices in the back end of it. What are some things that are top of mind for you when you were going out and you want to stay reasonably on track?
Sure. So I'm lucky enough that I'm just really type A. So everything in my life is very planned and organized. How many times did we confirm this?
14.
Right. Yeah. So I know for the most part when I'm going out, when someone's birthday is coming up, when it's an anniversary, when I have someone coming into town to visit and I want to show them off and have a great time. For the most part, 90% of the time, I know when an event is coming up. Because of that, I'm able to manipulate calories a little bit if it is like a dieting state, and this is something that I tell my clients to do as well, is if you know you have a networking event, if you know it's someone's bachelorette party, you can kind of front load your calories, back load your calories, whichever way they're going. And so maybe it's the day of, you can have a smaller meal leading up to the big night out, and then I'm sure you've taught this too, you can pull your alcohol calories from carbs and fats. One strategy for avoiding the dollar slice, which is right, like, it's on every corner in New York. You're like walking down the street after like a few beers, and you're like, it's only 99 cents. It's this big.
The one slice that you have to hold. Like
exactly, you need 2 hands to eat it. So avoiding that is knowing that you have something great in your fridge already. So I'm such a, is this nerdy? I don't know. I don't know if I should tell my secrets. I'll make like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or have like a bagel in my fridge, like waiting for me when I get home from a night out, and then usually Chris is there, so we'll have like a drunken picnic on the floor.
That works.
Yeah, and so I think if you know, like, wait, I don't need to go to this diner, I don't need to stop and get the dollar slice because I already have something that is going to trigger that, like, you're already in a great, like, feel-good sense once you've been drinking, right? But it's just going to kind of lead to that, like, excitement about, like, oh my gosh, my favorite food is back at home. And hopefully once you get home and you know that that favorite food is there, ideally it's, like, a little bit less calorically dense, right, than the diner platter of, like, the burgers and nachos and curly fries. Hopefully it's, like, a 6-inch, like, Subway sub that's, like, 400 calories versus 1,500. That you can still get excited about when you get home from your night out.
Okay, I've never heard that strategy.
You've never heard that?
No, that's a good one. What I really like about that one is how you can actually plan for it. So we think about most dollar slices or diners and things like that. It's unplanned. It's like we have, all right, we think we're going to have this many calories. We never actually do.
Right.
So that I really like. Definitely have to steal that. That I really like because it allows you to plan. Well, peanut butter and jelly are at 350 calories. Here's what I can look at. And like Amber said, a lot of times all we're doing is reducing carbs and fats, having some leaner meals early in the day, and that allows for it. When you're actually in that setting, and the obstacles are coming up where somebody's going to be pressuring you to drink a little bit more, and you don't necessarily want to drink, pressuring you to join them with apps, what are some strategies that you use to kind of tell people to take a hike? Like you're doing your own thing, how do you do that?
Sure. Well, one thing that comes up a lot for myself and for my dancers is club atmospheres, right? Like I have girls who are go-go performers, or you know, you're just doing an event, backup dancing in a club. So in that regard, there's always going to be someone's like, all right, let's everybody do shots before we go on stage and like get hype. So our usual go-to is, no, I'm working. Let's do it after. Or so I think for like the normal person who isn't about to go on stage in 10 minutes.
I'm going to do a dancer on the side.
So if you're not about to hop on stage 10 minutes after your shot, you can still say, no, I'm still working on this, and you can really nurse your drinks, which is my go-to. When I just don't love drinking, but I do love, like, enjoy being out and being social. So, you know, if it's like, don't order the shots that you just have to throw back, or do, whatever your drink of choice is, but, like, order something that you can, like, sip on, ideally not, like, a sugary cocktail, like a glass of wine, or my, like, favorite is, like, a tequila soda, and, like, a little twist.
That's the trick.
That's the one thing about the twist. But, yeah, something that you can sip on, and then if you can sneak away, I've been known to sneak away, can you get to the bartender, can you just refill this with water, can you just add soda to this?
Fake drink a little
exactly.
bit.
Yeah, hydrating in between drinks, I think everyone knows to do that, and it's like,
don't always actually.
ideally, just so, I mean, forget, like, 6 packs aside, just like have a drink of water so you don't wake up hungover the next day. That's what they tell us, at least. I guess that's my advice for that is hydrate when you can, pick drinks that you can sip on and don't feel like you need to like guzzle down. When someone offers you another drink and you're not quite ready, you can always just say I'm not quite ready, or can you get me a water, or
just being a little more direct.
Exactly. I think I don't think you need to bring up like, no, I'm dieting. Like,
do you have a caloric deficit?
Do you even know? Do you even count your macros?
Does this fit your macros? It doesn't fit mine.
Yeah, I don't think you need to bring like dieting into the equation, but I think you can be more direct and say, no, if I have another drink right now, I'm not going to feel well. I'll have a better time if I hold off a little bit.
Yeah. I like that. Let me steal that one too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think that's really important too.
Yeah.
Because people want, right, like they think, oh, I need to get you another drink so you're having a good time.
Yeah.
But I think if you can say, I will have a better time if I hold off.
Yeah.
You know?
When I feel like they're ruining your time.
Right.
That works out. And what I really like about the fake drinking strategy, where either you're nursing it so it seems like you're drinking more, or getting a water, you can sneak away for a second. Because a lot of times we talk about this group a lot, the crabs in a bucket scenario, where like if you're not boozing as much as everyone else kind of wants to pull you down with them and make sure you do that. So if you just kind of play the part a little bit and it looks like you're kind of chilling like everyone else, it kind of gets that weight off your shoulders. Where people are like, Amber doesn't have a drink. Like, here you go. She's like, no, I have a vodka. It's great. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
That works out. Now, even with all these strategies, it is semi-inevitable that we will have nights out where we end up overeating, and just kind of like overeating in general, whether it's weekends, social events. We've both been known to overeat here. Strategies for getting back on track after overeating. Specifically, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what to avoid after overeating, like common pitfalls.
Common pitfalls.
Pitfalls are cool. Yeah, let's go over the pitfalls.
I think stay the fuck away from the scale. I do it, my girls do it. It's just so mean. It's so mean to be like, oh my gosh, I ate like a pig last night. Let me see the damage done. And
Let me validate this.
Like you know you're going. You can feel it. Like you wake up and you're like, this doesn't feel good. Like why? Why make it worse by adding a numerical value to it? So avoid the scale as much as you like until you feel ready, until you feel like yourself again, which will probably be 3 or 4 days. Then get back on and reassess if you're using the scale as a tool. I think having a friend too, who you can like, oftentimes you'll text me or I'll text you and be like, hey, how'd it go? And
did you end up eating all 12 donuts? I'm like,
right. Yeah, but having someone that you can reach out to, honestly, there's no judgment there, and just say, well, this happened, and kind of removing the emotion from it and just saying, okay, I just need someone else to know. This isn't a secret. I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to maintain this air of perfection. Someone else should know I messed up, but I'm going to do better. So I think, having someone that you can reach out to, a coach, a friend, is really important. And then in terms of just getting back on track, I always tell my girls, like, we don't miss more than once. So, which you probably have a very similar philosophy where it's like, all right, you had a shitty night, a shitty weekend maybe, do one thing to get back on track, whatever that is. Maybe it's, okay, you woke up, you're hungover, you're bloated, you feel terrible. Don't go to the gym that morning, but you can take a 10-minute walk around your neighborhood,
do something.
Exactly. So one good thing for yourself to get back on track. And then of course one good thing will then lead to another good thing, right? So.
I like that. One of the things I like in particular is that none of those strategies included trying to work off the calories that you had, or cutting calories to kind of punish yourself. And one strategy in particular that I love is how you said communicating with somebody, so it doesn't sound like this guilty secret type thing, which is really easy, I think, to fall in that trap of like, I overate, I don't want anybody to know it all, like I'm not going to log it, I'm going to hide it, like that doesn't exist. Whereas like we've had conversations where I'm like, hey, I kind of overdid it. Bachelor parties are a very real thing. We had that conversation, I went to one like a month or 2 ago and overdid it. When you communicate those two things, it removes the guilt, but then offers a layer of accountability where I'm like, hey, I was off track yesterday, but I'm going to try to get back on track today. And then Amber would be nice to have to follow up and be like, hey, did you get back on track? I do it every single day. But knowing that you're going to have someone to check in with allows you to kind of